Hello and thank you for joining us for the 6th in this series, an introduction to high dynamic range for onset production from LEADER. My name is Kevin Salvage. I'm the European Regional Development Manager for LEADER, based in London in the UK. And if you have any questions concerning this or any of the other presentations in this series or any LEADER products, please don't hesitate to contact me. So today we're going to talk about high dynamic range and high dynamic range production. And we're going to look at an ASIS HDR, SDR look control and workflow. And here we have an Onset HDR, SDR color pipeline overview using the Academy of Color Encoding Systems. Now, more than over 300 movies have been produced and distributed using ASIS with support of the big VFX studios. And ASIS has also become a delivery standard for Netflix. So from image capture through editing, VFX, mastering, public presentation, archiving, and future remastering, ASIS ensures a consistent color experience that preserves the filmmaker's creative vision. So let's start on the left with cameras. And when cameras were analog, things were simple. There was only a couple of formats, 35mm and 70mm. The original print, shot on film, was available for eternity. But with the digital camera revolution, multiple camera formats have emerged, and these proprietary systems, used for the digital cinema distribution master, can become outdated very quickly as technology of digital cameras evolves. So that when you come to remaster for a new standard, the digital cinema distribution masters are not relevant anymore. So this is why lots of productions will prefer to use the cameras in their native format using their native log curves. And this is where the LEADER LV5350 waveform monitor comes into its own with its HDR software license that can allow onset monitoring of all three cameras in their native log format. So if you're using two cameras, you can set the device up, one for C-Log, one for S-Log3, and monitor them side by side, ensuring the correct exposure and setup and that the rushes do not require significant technical rework in post-production. The next stage is SimAlights pre-light that can control a LUT box to upload looks on set and includes full ASIS support and does not require a camera with an ASIS proxy output. If you're doing the DI in Baselight, you can use the full Baselight toolset to create looks and save them as BGLs with metadata linking them to the shot where they were used on. But you can also use it in CDL mode to save looks to other systems. LiveGrade provides look management on set that integrates with the various camera workflows. Input device transform. This process takes the captured image from any ingestible source material and transforms the content into the ASIS color space and encoding specifications. The BLGs created in pre-light can now be used during the Baselight grade. The CDLs can be used on other grading systems. Look Modification Transform, LMT, is a specific change in the look that is applied systematically in combination with the Reference Rendering Transform, RRT. The Reference Rendering Transform converts the scene-referred color imagery to display-referred and resembles the traditional film image rendering with an S-shaped curve. It has a large gamut and dynamic range available for rendering to any output device, even those that don't exist yet. The Output Device Transform, ODT, provides a guideline for rendering the large gamut and wide dynamic range of the RRT to a physically realized output device with limited gamut and dynamic range. And as you can see here, we have three different monitors with different ranges. So the LEADER waveform monitor that was used on set has the same tools as the leader waveform monitor that's used in the high-end grading suite, thus ensuring that the content you saw on set is the same content they see in the grading suite, and makes finishing and delivering both the HDR and SDR deliverable a lot simpler. Talking of delivering the standard dynamic range deliverable, Dolby have done a considerable amount of work on this and have simplified the workflow using the standard dynamic range Dolby Trim Pass. This requires a content mapping unit, and this can either be an external hardware box or an internal software plugin for most of the major grading tools. And the ICMU allows you to set the target display output, so that's 100 nits, BT709, BT1886 full, and it allows you to adjust the trim control, mid-tone offset, primary trim with lift, gamma gain, saturation gain, chroma weight, tone detail, mid-contrast bias and highlight clipping, and also secondary trim control with secondary saturation, secondary hues for red, yellow, green, cyan, blue and magenta. And again, the same tools that we used on set from Leader with the LV5350 are available in the LV5600, giving you complete continuity. Leader has also developed some tools that simplify on-set production, and these have been developed in conjunction with both the film and video professionals. The first of those is a tool called SimAlights, which is a built-in light meter or spot meter, and it provides measurements of the video levels for both luminance, RGB value, RGB255, code value in hex, code value in decimal, and high dynamic range. SimAlights allows production staff on set to review and evaluate images after the camera has processed the image. Position the cursor to any position on the picture to get an instant measurement and review of the material that's actually being recorded. So here we have P2, which I'm setting as my 18% reference, and that's highlighted in red. Then I have my P1 cursor, my P3 cursor, and it's showing here on P1 that I'm plus 3.3 stops above my reference, and P3 is 0.2 below. Here I'm showing my gamma correction value and my f-stop reference that will change as the camera starts to roll and the picture changes, like this. SimAlights also supports what's known as SimAlights Advanced, where the pixel that's been highlighted can be displayed on the waveform monitor, on the vector and the CIE color chart simultaneously. So thank you once again for watching. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me.